Hi there, Sandra here from Creating Spain. I've had a request to show you how to actually make the negative for stamp making with the scan and cut with the vinyl. So this is a piece of acetate, the stuff that you'd normally do shaker windows with, that sort of stuff. And I have some cheap black vinyl here. It's roughly the same size. It's plenty big enough, it's way oversized in fact for the design that I'm going to do. But yeah, there we go, just going to lay that down. Now if you're doing a much bigger piece than this, it's easier to lay it from corner to corner and to use a ruler to smooth it down so you don't get any air bubbles. And if you do have a few little air bubbles, just go over it again with a ruler and that'll help get rid of them. This is what I'm going to be cutting my negative from, and simply so I can get a better idea of where my design is going to be, I'm just going to cut off the excess there. I've put my vinyl on my mat, so I just need to put the mat in. There we go, mat's in place. What I want to do is a half cut. I've got my design so that it's going to start just looking over probably there. I think I'm going to move it up a little bit and to the left a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit. So that's okay. Select cut. I have my auto blade in and I've got the half cut feature on. Now if you haven't come across the half cut one on the DX, it's on the second screen down here and it says pressure half cut. I've got that set to auto and I've got the half cut switched on, so just click OK on that. And I'm just going to check my blade because I've been cutting vinyl before. Just check my blade hasn't got any vinyl remnants on the tip so that it would stop it from cutting. But no, my tip is clear. So put that in and just press the start button and off it will go. Now the beauty of putting your vinyl onto acetate to cut it is that even if your pressure is a little bit high, it won't cut through the acetate. It might cut into it a little bit, but that doesn't matter. It's not going to cut all the way through the acetate on the half cut function. This vinyl is a cheapy one. It cuts quite easily, but it's a real pain in the neck to maneuver it if you cut it without it being on acetate. The backing paper is terrible. And of course, if you put it on acetate, it doesn't stick to your mat either. It'll stay there while you're cutting it, but you'll be able to move it off really easily. And you won't be leaving bits of paper behind. So that is my cut completely done. And I'm just looking at it from an angle to see, and it looks like it's cut fine. So I'm just going to click on OK to that, take my mat out, and move my machine out the way again. I'm hoping you can see this a little bit better than it looks on my camera screen, but we shall see. Now I've got my text cut out, but I've also managed to lose a tiniest little speck that should actually be black. So to read this is going to be nice and easy, or it should be, because I welded all these letters together. So if I just pick up one little edge, it should, in theory, pick up everything that I need to take in each word. There we go. Now, because of this little hole that I wanted here, I'm going to go in with a black pen and just put a little bit of black ink there. Now it may or it may not have the effect of managing to block out enough light, so I'll still get that loop in, yes, but at least I'll have tried it. And this, as you can see, is extremely fine vinyl cutting. So it just shows how fine you can go with a rudder scan and cut. I don't think you'd want to weed anything much finer than this, to be perfectly honest. Now I do my designing in shortcuts a lot, so that is where I did my lettering. I can't remember which font this was, and I did go into my lettering and I adjusted it slightly because I had a gap between the W and the A and I didn't want it, and I had a gap between the G and the S and I didn't want that, so I did a little bit of node editing and got rid of those gaps. So that is how to make the vinyl transparency to do my stamp. Now the one thing that I did here, which I shouldn't have done, is I actually put this text the right way around, because the easiest way to do it, if you want to reuse your vinyl again, is to do it the other way around, reverse it, and then you can make your stamp from this side and you can clean this off a lot easier. However, even though this was an actual mistake, I should have done it the other way around, it really doesn't make too much difference because I'm not likely to want to repeat making this stamp. So I'm going to be using it this way round in order to make it, and it'll be fine. It won't make any great difference. I just won't be able to clean it off in the same way, and I'll just throw it out after. I have my vinyl here on a piece of 5mm glass. I have a plastic frame which I'm putting around, and there's a good space around here. You can go up and down in lines, you can go round in circles, you can just pull it in the centre and wait for it to go to the edges, whatever. If it's warm enough, you won't get too much in the way of bubbles. I think that's going to do the job quite nicely. Give it a minute or so just to level out all on its own. Just going to pop that little bubble there. And because this is kind of pillowed at the moment, I'm pretty confident that when I put my cellophane over the top, my glass plate on top, that's going to fill my mould effectively. So here's my piece of cellophane going over the top of that. Just lay it from the centre and allow it to go out. Then put the piece of glass on the top, and the weight of the glass should actually make sure that everything is gone to the edges, and you can press it down a little bit, and it looks like I've judged that really well. There's nothing seeping out of it even. So this goes into my lamp now for the first side to be cured, and that's going to go in my lamp for 45 seconds. After 45 seconds, I take it out, turn it over and put it in again for another 45 seconds. Okay, this should now be cured, and once I've taken this out, I will wash the stamp out with warm soapy water. It doesn't have to be hot, just warm, and you can use normal washing up liquid. That'll do it just fine. As it happens, my glass plates are still perfectly clean, and if I take this off, you can see my stamp appear in that gel. There's a little bit of gel on here which isn't cured, which is as it should be, but my design is quite happily ensconced in there. So I just need to wash this out with warm soapy water and a nail brush, and then it goes in some shallow cool water, and I put it under the lamp again for another 4 to 6 minutes. It doesn't make any difference if you over cure it at that stage. My stamp is being washed out, it's in here, it's still got the cellophane backing on, and I'm just going to put it in here for about 6 minutes. I have my stamp here, I have removed the cellophane backing, it's being washed out, it's being cured for another 6 minutes. It is still tacky, and it will be tacky because it's a polymer stamp, and that's a good sign. The silicone stamps you get generally aren't tacky, and they generally don't stamp quite as well either. So some Memento black ink, and put that there. There we go, warm hugs from. Perfectly stamped, and I've got a little bit of ink there, but that's more likely just because I pressed too hard onto the ink pad itself. So there we go, that's how you do the stamp, from doing the negative to getting it to stamp your image.